Okay. So I'll open up. The first question to both of you is introduce yourselves and mention things that are not on your SPJIMR application form.
Okay. Can I go first, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Abhishek Kumar, born and brought up in the city of Steel, Jamshedpur. Being from the city of Tatas, my life is very much inspired by the values. I have a very strong inclination toward technology, which led me pursue my graduation in computer science engineering. During my college final year, I was selected among the top 10 candidate for a coveted internship at Mindfire Solution, post which I joined TCS as a software engineer, systems engineer, sorry, wherein I worked in the worked in for Singapore-based financial institution and managed their chatbot system. I was able to improve the bot performance by onboarding new features. With my work what I learned that how minute data, which can easily go unnoticed, bring great value for an organization. I like taking up new challenges and responsibility, which is why I was very much engaged in many student-led bodies and talent development initiative during my college and school days. An event very close to my heart was the first ever TEDx which we hosted. I was the event manager and spearheaded a team of 30 plus members, and we catered to 200 plus audience for it. I love playing guitar. I'm a guitarist and played in multiple events for my college and school, man. I also love to play football. That's a bit about myself.
So shall I go ahead?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, all. My name is Mohit. Sorry, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, okay. My name is Mohit. I worked in a company called BEML for 3 years as a design engineer. I worked on the vertical of rail and metro. Basically, my work was to take care of the design, development, and testing of outfitting aggregates, which is basically the seats or windows. Like whenever you enter into a metro, whatever you see is something which I worked on. I did my BTech from NIT Nagpur. I graduated in 2019 from a mechanical engineering background. And this is one particular place where I learned a lot about my self-interest. Particularly, I developed a lot of leadership skills in a game of my choice called cricket, where I led my team in the capacity of vice captain. And also, I'm from a city called Hyderabad, which is quite famous for biryani and for the monuments of the Mughal and all. This is where I did my 10th and my 12th schooling also. And yeah, this is a bit about me.
The next question is like very straightforward. Both of you have work experience. So why exactly do you want to do an MBA? And just answer it in your top 3 sentences. Like don't give long answers, just stick to the point.
Okay.
This time I'll start with Mohit. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I wanted to do an MBA for my BTech, but yeah, I didn't have an idea as to why MBA. Basically, my work experience helped me to get there. The reason is I identified certain pain points. Like, though I have a technical knowledge, I lack certain business decision-making skills, which I feel MBA can provide it to me. And also, I wanted MBA to progress my career growth, where I can apply myself much more further ahead in my career too. Yeah.
You mentioned that you think that you lack some business skills. So can you tell me what exactly are you talking about?
Yeah, like there was a situation where we had to do a floor testing for metro. It is a fire testing. Now, basically, there are two choices. One, either you test it in India or send it to a foreign location. But basically, in India, the thing is you don't have I would say, a testing mechanism very close by to our company. The advantage is it is very less in cost. But foreign, you'll have a very proper way of testing it, but the cost implication is much higher for the company. I was suggesting to go for the foreign one, whereas people around me, I mean my seniors and all, they tell like, no, this is not feasible because we should take care of time and certain money aspects of it as well. This is where I understood like, okay, not just the technical thing or not just the result, you also need certain other factors where you have to develop yourself.
And Abhishek, you?
Okay. So I have a work ex in my IT sector. So we used to always consult with clients and other team members regarding the project. So therein what I faced that in a team, I was able to contribute with the technical aspects. But when it came down to the business aspect of the project, I find a void in my knowledge, where on the other side, I could clearly see my senior manager taking smooth decision. They were giving very insightful values and how this small decision were bringing great value to the organization. So this was the reason which motivated me. adding on to this, there was one more reason, that as I was involved in many activities, student-led activities, so there was always a love for position of responsibilities and managing team. So I always wanted to merge that learnings with the academic opportunity. That's why I want to go for an MBA.
And a follow-up on that, like why SPJIMR? Again, give very unique things about SPJIMR specifically. Why you want to do an MBA from SPJIMR? This time starting with Abhishek.
No doubt, SPJIMR is one of the top B school of the country. Specific to my domain, I would like to see the thing that attracts me the most is the curriculum. The blend of the things which we are going to get in the information management domain is very unique to this particular institute. We'll be learning the analytical things, and then we are going to learn the strategies which is required in the IT industry. Apart from that, also the upcoming technologies on which the industry is heavily relied upon. So this unique curriculum makes it very important thing for me. Also, the non-classroom learning programs like Abhyodaya and DOCC, the social sensitivity part which the student gets over here is also very important for me. And then comes the placement. Being the top B school, I can get an opportunity to be a part of top national or international organization. So
okay, yeah, just a follow-up on that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you mentioned about curriculum. Okay, can you name 5 subjects that you really liked in the curriculum?
Okay, so first I'll go with the core subjects which are there. Which is the first is the business management, and then the project management, product management subject, then the blockchain and its application, then analytics part. Then also we have got a digital transformation, how we are going to use it. So these 5 parts.
Oh yeah, moving on to
Yeah. So like basically why SPJIMR? It starts off from how did I know about SPJIMR? I came to know about it through my colleague in my work location. And then when I started researching as to why SPJIMR and why this particular course called business management, it offers a flexibility as to choose your domain as an elective later. Like deep diving into the course, I have the flexibility to choose something which can align with my career aspirations. This is one reason as to why the course DM. And any other reasons, like if you talk about the last 2-3 years during COVID, I understood like it is a healthcare crisis, right? But it led to many other fluctuations like economic crisis and social crisis. So I understood that things are interlinked in this ecosystem, and one needs to be socially aware of things as well as conscious. And this is exactly what SPJIMR as an institute also promotes, and that is the other reason, as well as the placement reports too. The last 2 years, there has been consistent growth in year-on-year, if you see the average as well as median, and the companies which are visiting too. Yeah, that's the reason I want to join SPJIMR.
Cool. I'll go ahead now if that's fine. So I saw that for both of you, the second specialization that you have added in your firm, it is operations and supply chain. So just wanted to know the reason behind that. So maybe Mohit, you can start first and then Abhishek.
Yeah. So I think it is quite relevant to my work experience as well as my background in BTech. I mean, not specifically supply chain, but I would say operations. I mean, how a material is procured to as a raw material to how it is delivered. This is something which I worked on, as well as things like, how do you design a product? How do you say you want to make a design of a 3D model? How do you do it? These are all things probably I felt related to operations and supply chain. I mean, specifically operations, not supply chain.
Just a follow-up on that. So what do you understand is the difference between operations and supply chain?
I believe operations is basically from the start of manufacturing a product or procuring a product and to the end of its completion. I mean, at the end stage. The supply chain, I think, really starts from there.
Okay. Abhishek, you can. Please continue if you wanted to.
It's okay. No, Abhishek can continue ahead.
Okay. So my reason for opting for operations and supply chain was that during the COVID, we have seen the industry getting disrupted in a very large margin. I was from an IT background. The very basic example I wanted to share with you, that when COVID happened and the lockdown was there, so the IT industry struggled with the small things, like they were not even able to provide the laptop, the key asset, to its employee to smoothly functioning of the project. Like there was a gap of 30 to 40 days for many of the industries. So that point, I realized that how much important it's to have a very good supply chain and operation, a role in an organization. So this inspired me to opt for it.
So considering your experience in IT, how do you think you would be like, how would it help in you studying operations and supply chain? Suppose you get OSCM, how do you think you can use your work ex in learning OSCM?
Okay, so I'll take an example. Suppose Myntra. I'm from a IT background. I know that the data which we use for the customer, we derive many key insights from the data which we are getting from the users. Okay.
Okay.
So now
Yeah.
when we come to relate it to the supply chain, we can say that suppose winters are coming. So
Okay.
we can see a trend that in the northern part where the winter is very prominent, we see that the winter sale works fine over there. Okay. But if we
Okay.
go to the southern part of India, we see that not there's so much not sale of the winter things, winter clothing. Rather, with their people are more shopping for their Pongal and all the harvesting festival going on over there. So being a very basic thing, what we can do in for the northern part, the inventory can be increased for the clothing of the winter wears. In the southern part, we can go with the traditional dresses and all those things. So in this way, we can do the future planning. So there are many certain things which can be done.
Fair. So since both of you talked about the inclination of SPJIMR towards a social sensitivity, so Abhishek, I would like to ask you something about Abhyudaya. Like, what do you think about Abhyudaya? What is it? And Mohit, you can be ready about DOCC. So we can start with Abhishek.
Okay, sir. So Abhyudaya is a program in which we as an individual are going to mentor a student with whatever learnings we want to give it to them. It is a very critical thing in today's today's generation, for today's generation, to create such kind of social sensitivity in which we are not doing something for ourselves only, but we are giving back to the society. So for me, giving back to the society is a very important part, and helping someone to grow in their life brings a tremendous joy and a satisfaction to me.
Fair. And Mohit, you can tell me about DOCC.
Yeah. So I don't know the technicalities behind it, but I have a general discussion with my friend regarding DOCC. Like he told me that it is kind of a rural internship where you get to connect with people who are not from your background. You will have a perspective which is quite different from yours. It will sensitize you to the current social scenario of the country, as well as help you develop personally. This is what I had a basic understanding about DOCC.
Okay. So just one last question from my end to Abhishek. So since you mentioned that you have been involved in a lot of student-led initiatives, could you explain to me more about one of those initiatives and like any challenges that you were able to navigate through in one of those?
Yeah, sure, sir. So as I mentioned earlier, we hosted the first ever TEDx for our institute, for my college.
Yeah.
So since it was our first project, we were very new. We found a very new team. Okay. And we were completely unaware of the rules and regulation. So the main challenge which came in front of us was while raising the fund, because there's a rule in TEDx that we can't give many things to the sponsors, and we can't allow them to do anything inside the venue where the TEDx is being hosted. Okay. It was a new project, so we didn't have any past thing to show also to them. So the funding was a major challenge which the team was facing. To be honest, we were humiliated. We went with the legacy process of making a brochure and reaching out to all the people. So at that point of time, as the most senior most person in that group, I came down with a new strategy in which we started targeting the alumni of the college, since alumni could better understand what value this event bring us. Okay. And then we also changed many new strategies, like we went to the vendors which were new, and they could also help us. Like for the video recording part, we went to a new starting venture and we collaborated with them. It was a two process. So in this way, cost cutting was also done. So this event was like so.
Okay, fine. I think I am done with my questions for now. If you want to go ahead, Gautam.
Yeah, so both of you, can you please tell about your work experience, what you did
Yeah.
over there?
Yes. Shall I start it, sir? Mohit?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I basically worked in a engineering and manufacturing company, which had three verticals, business verticals, which is rail and metro, mining and construction, and defense and aerospace. I worked in rail and metro. So basically, when you enter a metro, like anything you feel or you see, like a seat or a floor or a window. So these things have to be designed first in a 3D modeling software and then sent to the shop floor. So this was my work, designing and sending them to the shop floor. Later, we also did the testing part of these things. This was a technical
Yes.
know-how of what I did my work experience. Yeah, that's all.
Okay. So you would be having some basic idea about manufacturing processes, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
What are the manufacturing processes that are involved in the manufacturing of those parts?
Like if you take a typical bracket, a stainless steel bracket, it is basically cut here using laser cutting machine. That is one thing. Now, if you take, can you identify the poles across the metro, right? Where we hold our hands. That is done using ERW stainless steel welding. Like they weld it through like a pipe. Then if you see the saloon seats, they are press formed.
Could you please tell about the basic manufacturing processes that exist?
Basic manufacturing processes, like I would say, yeah, casting.
Yes.
I would say casting and yeah, I'm not able to recollect, but yeah, casting is one of them. I would say, yeah, I'm not able to recollect right now.
Okay, what about quality assurance part?
Yeah, we check them through, like one of them is checking the go gauges and no go gauges. We create templates to see if the part is actually like if it has come from an OEM, we have templates to check through whether the part is actually coming through the dimensions or not. This is one of them.
So do you check all the parts or how is it done?
No, not all the parts. Like initially we go for a first article inspection at the location site if there is an OEM. Later, it is under the quality department, which later checks for every material that comes into the factory.
Okay, do you know the types of sampling that is there?
No, sir, I have no idea about that.
All right. Abhishek, you can go ahead.
Sure, sir. So I worked for my role was to manage the chatbot for a Singapore-based financial institution, wherein I worked on the backend module of the chatbot, where we used to manage the data which come from the bot directly, and we used to help to train the model by using that data, in which we know that the most important thing is the intent. So our module enabled creating and adding new intent for the bot. Then also there was a two-way process to check whether the things which are being added to train the model are correct or not. Also, we added many new features for the internal bot, which was used inside the organization. So basically, onboarding new features for the bot was my key role.
Okay, talking about chatbots, are you aware of ChatGPT?
Yes,
And
sir.
what are your views about it?
Okay. ChatGPT is a nascent version of the upcoming technology we can see. It is very new. It is trained on the previous data, and it's basically mimic the human interaction with the client or the user who is doing, and provides the knowledge based on the predefined data which is served to it, and that is restricted to the year 2021. Okay. It is generating codes. It has got many use cases, like people are using to generate code, to write mails. Then people are using to generate content out of it, like writing SEAs or collaborating thing. Like we can input that, please give me a correlated version of Mahabharata and Ramayana. So it is going to generate output it is useful in a way that like if someone wants to write a content about merging the cases of Ramayana and Mahabharata, if a person go and read the values of Ramayana and Mahabharata and goes on these things, it is definitely going to take a lot of time. But for the bot, it's very easy to do it.
What are the cons of ChatGPT?
Yeah, the cons of ChatGPT is that it is very much doing the time saving part. Okay, then it is also helping with for the new coming people to get a what to say, a cheaper version of graphic designing or any content, like if they want, they can get it for free.
I'm asking about the cons.
Oh, sorry, sir. The cons is that it is not able to understand the human emotions. Okay, and also the data is predefined, so there are very much chances to get wrong output of it. It's very important to validate it. And then we can also say that it's somewhat affecting the education system. Students are using it in a incorrect way to get the answers, get the thing done, in fact making the human lazy.
All right. Are you aware about the investments that are being poured into ChatGPT? Did you go
uh,
through any news recently?
yeah, Microsoft investing, I know that Microsoft has invested. Apart from that, I'm not aware, sir.
Okay. How much was the investment? Do you have any idea?
Not sure about the figure, sir.
All right. You mentioned about digitization, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the difference between digitization and digitalization?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware.
Okay, in your introduction, you mentioned about the values associated with Jamshedji Tata. Can
Yes.
you enlist a few values?
Okay, so the first thing I'll say is with the integrity, the core value of Tata. Then responsibility, the thing which I have learned from Tata is that my father and my grandfather, two generations, and work for Tata. So from there, I've learned that it's not about only taking from the society; it's also about giving back to the society. So being a responsible citizen is very important. Then it's come down to ethics, that we should be always morally right towards the task which is being given to us. And so few qualities are these, sir.
All right, Hari, you may take over.
So, yeah, I have one straight question to both of you, starting with Mohit. Give me 3 reasons why I should not select you.
Can I think over it?
To think over 3 reasons about your own self. Doesn't give a good impression, but yeah, please.
Okay.
Till then, Abhishek.
Okay. So I would say that one reason I can say that I get over involved in the activities which I become a part of, that leads to sometime draining down my energy. I get reach a very quickly the burnout stage. I don't take frequent breaks. Like if I get involved in a process, I start thinking too much about the process and get too much engaged in that thing. Day and night, I'll be thinking about that only. So this is one of the things I could say. Then maybe you can find a better fit as per the college based on the knowledge and the
But that is
technology
not about
background.
you, right?
Okay.
I'm asking specific to you. And even in the first point that you mentioned, I just want to ask that, okay, if you get over involved, but here, the curriculum is very difficult. We are doing like so many subjects, so many courses. Every day you have to do assignments. And if, because of getting over involved, you are getting burned out very easily. You might have sleepless nights. And how will you manage your health? And like, how will you go about that?
So for that, I've started working on it. Like I take frequent breaks. I used to call my mom and dad, for talk with them, go out for a walk, listen music, and I have just started meditating also. So I've started taking some for it.
And other 2 reasons?
I can't think of any reason as of now, sir.
Not even like one, like you Mr. Perfect or something like, I mean, just I'm asking you about your own self. Can't think of. Okay, Mohit.
So,
Did you
like,
get?
I would connect it with like maybe my background. I mean, it doesn't specifically come from a business background. I mean, in my work experience. it comes from mostly a technical perspective. So is that something which could be a on which you may not select me?
Don't think background is a problem.
Okay.
Any
Not
other
able
thing
to.
you can think of?
If it is a personality trait, I would say sometimes I'm quite overconfident.
Okay. And
which I think might, the results may not go in my favor sometimes.
can you give an instance where you actually were overconfident?
Yeah, it was during the, like I'll take back to my BTech time. I was the vice captain in my fourth year, final year. But when I was in my second year, what happened was they had a requirement that they needed a left-hander. So I was the right fit there. I mean, I didn't go for much of the practice sessions, but I was a just right fit there. I was extremely overconfident that, okay, I can change the game on my own. But the first match itself, we played with a team which is much stronger than us. I had a kind of, what do I say, an open view that no, anyone can do anything on a given day, and I might have a bad day. Just by going thinking too much about yourself will only add pressure on you. Sorry, I'm not able to hear you.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's one thing. Overconfidence. Other two things?
I would say, yeah, one thing is I'm actually working on it, but yeah, since my BTech is like if you give 10 days of a time to do a work, and I know that the work can be done in 5 days, I utilize it the last 5 days to complete it, which is not an ideal thing.
So
But I do
basically,
complete it, yeah, but I do it as much as
you need
in
to
the
work
last
on
one.
your prioritization.
Okay.
Okay. And the third?
Third is, yeah, okay, maybe I don't know if it is right fit for business school or not, but yeah, I kind of get panic when I speak to girls.
Funny, but okay. So that's not a criteria for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah. Okay. Yeah, the next question is first to Abhishek. When was the last time you said sorry to someone and why?
Okay, so it was quite recent that I said sorry to my elder sister because since the result of CAT and that, all those things, I got involved in with my preparations for the personal interview and all those things. So I wasn't able to receive a call, and there were certain important tasks which she has asked me to do, but I was more focused on my studies. So that is why I couldn't connect with her. So I said recently when I got connected with her, I said sorry to her for not giving her time.
Yeah. And what about you, Mohit?
Yeah, the last time I said was today afternoon itself. Like my friend came back from Canada, and I was going back to Canada, and he called me for my credit card. I actually wanted to book a flight ticket, and I didn't pick up the call. And later I called him back, and I apologized to him for that. Like I was not aware of it. Like I didn't have the phone beside me. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. So I'm done with my questions. Open to other panelists.
All right. I think safe to assume.
So एक minute ना. So one last thing that if nobody has other questions, then Mohit and Abhishek, do you have any questions for the panelists?
Yeah. So the thing is like nothing was asked from current affairs. Hello.
No.
Yeah.
Question as in like.
Okay,
If
you
you
are
are in
asking
an
as a
interview
panelist.
setting
Okay,
and the
yeah.
last panelist say, do you have any
Okay.
questions for us? Then what will you
Okay.
ask?
No, I've not thought of it.
Okay.
All right. ठीक है दोनों ठीक हो चलो and like feedback time तो हरेन I'll quickly 2 minutes में feedback दे दो and then I'll move ahead.
Sure. So first of all, like the last thing, you should have questions for the panelist. Definitely. That is very, very important because it's a conversation. It should end like a conversation, not like an abrupt, no, I don't have any questions. You can ask about their experience. That is
Okay.
one. Second thing is, I specifically, first question asked, introduce yourself by telling things that are not on your form. And you are telling me that, okay, I am this person, I'm from this college, I worked in this organization. That is definitely on your form. I specifically said, I want to hear things that are not on your form. So this shows that you're not an active listener. And the first question, if you show that, it creates a very bad impression. So generally, SPJIMR, it's very typical that they ask things that, you introduce yourself in ways that are not on your form. So then nothing should be on the form, not even one sentence. So that is something you should be very careful of. Other than that, I feel your YMB answers were decent, fine. And yeah, we didn't have too much time, so we didn't put in current affairs, but that will also come in. And even more technical questions. So just be ready and confident on that.
Okay.
And like one thing, like some places I noticed that both of you can just, improve your grammar. So one or two
Okay.
sentences, I don't remember exactly, but, made some grammatical mistakes. So you just try to avoid that.
Okay.
That's feedback from my side.
Anirban, maybe we can start with your feedback.
Yeah, so firstly, yeah, congrats to both of you. I really liked the way in which you attempted the interview. So you were able to answer most of the questions and in a very well way. So one thing is that at some places, both of you said that I lack this skill, I lack that skill. So a better way to put it out could be like, I can improve upon these skills. So don't highlight the negatives, rather look at opportunities for improvement. Apart from that, yeah, you can work on, say, when we ask you why shouldn't we hire, why shouldn't we take you at SPJIMR, maybe you can like work a bit around your weaknesses, which are like in some way genuine, but cannot like harm your chances.
Okay.
So yeah, I think apart from that, yeah, everything looked good. So yeah, as Haren was mentioning, be ready for some like very specific questions pertaining to your undergrad. Those can be asked. So
Okay.
yeah, that's it from my end.
Okay.
Gautam?
Yeah. So I asked mainly technical questions. So which specializations have you been shortlisted for, each one of you?
I'm for IM, sir, information management.
And I've been listed for business management.
Okay, the first one. And your focus area is operations, right? Mohit,
Sorry,
For
sir.
me,
your focus area,
Okay, my work experience.
specialization.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, so be ready with questions on the similar lines which I asked, like manufacturing processes, quality assurance part. You are mentioning it in your answers, and that's not coming through, like sampling and all. You should know all these.
Okay.
Similarly for Abhishek, this is a very hot question in SPJIMR interview, is digitization and digitalization. So you should be aware with this digital transformation. Look for these, and yeah, these technical questions you should be thorough with.
Okay. Yeah.
so one question I have that can I get any sort of guidance that what is where to restrict myself in the learning? Because if we go for the IM part, especially, like there are too many things going on. If I deep down into AI thing, then there are many new things to learn. Then also this data analytics part, data mining, data warehousing, these all things. So what should be my agenda for the next few days?
I would suggest choose a few topics and mention it somewhere in your interview, like about introducing yourself, that you are interested in these fields. So your
Okay.
questions would be directed to that field only.
Okay.
Any more questions, Mohit and Abhishek?
No, sir. Yeah.
I'll give you my feedback. मैं पूरा सुना हूँ interview. I'll give you my feedback too. First of all, good, well done, good attempt for your first interviews. Okay, first SP mock interview. I mean, I know it's difficult to get around 3 unknown faces and sit with one of your peers, and it gets bizarre after that. And this was more or less on the lines of GI1. Okay, GI2 is a bit more difficult, which we'll get to later. But since इस बार अलग अलग हो रहा है, मतलब one day they have only GI1 and then other day they will have GI2, so we'll get to GI2 later on. Okay, so I'll give you my detailed feedback over a call, but I'll first let these people go. Okay, and thank you so much, guys, for helping us out. Okay, Harin, Gautam,
Thank you so much, sir.
thank you so much for your time. Okay, I'll stay with these guys. You can, and I'll talk to you later. Thank you so much again.